Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before we get into the video, gotta give a big shout out to our partners over at Fighting Mad. Big shout out to them, the pound for pound kings of boxing apparel. Whether you're at the fight, at the gym, or just chilling around the house, visit Fighting Mad for the best way to support your favorite fighters. They got hoodies, shirts, and sweatshirts featuring fighters like Tyson Fury, Manny Pacquiao, Anthony Joshua, Evander Holyfield, Deontay Wilder, and many, many more. So go over there and help support content creation here on True School Sports. Now, we got my pops back. My dad is back by popular demand. You want to say something to people?
Yes, how you guys doing? All the True School Sports subscribers and all the boxing fanatics throughout the boxing world. Thank you for supporting our True School Sports. And I'm here to talk boxing. This is a therapy that I love to have, just like coffee. And welcome you all. And any questions, anything you want to talk about, well, just shoot them out. We'll be glad to answer them.
There you have it. So, in this particular video, we're going to talk about the card that was announced yesterday for October the 26th in Reading, Pennsylvania. The main event will be Erickson Lubin and Terrell Geisha. They'll be looking to push their careers forward. I believe, as I got in front of me right now, Erickson Lubin and Geisha are pretty much ranked in 3 or 4 of all the sanctioning bodies. So, winner of this fight is probably looking at a title shot next. That's the main event. In your 2 undercard fights you got Rasheed Warren facing Emmanuel Rodriguez in Manuel's first fight back since he got destroyed by Naoya Inoue in 2 rounds. And then we got my boy, my main man, Adrian Granados. He returns to 140 and he's fighting Robert Easter Jr. in his first fight at 140. So I'll talk about the main event and then Warren and Emmanuel. The main event is an interesting fight because Erickson Lubin, when he was coming up as a prospect, he was looked at to be like the next big thing at 154. You remember when he fought Jamel Charlo, and Jamel Charlo just sparked him in 1 round.
1 shot.
Everybody was saying like that was a fight he was he wasn't ready for that fight. But since that fight, if we go to look at his box rec, I know he's beat Ishe Smith, right? You watched the fight, me, right? Ishe, you were pretty mad at him when he fought Ishe Smith.
Yeah,
because I remember you were like, "Oh, that was a joke fight."
Yeah.
But he fought Ishe Smith, Silverio Ortiz, and he fought this 129-6 guy here. So he hasn't fought the creme de la creme fighters since he lost, but he's done what he's had to do to get to this point.
Big convincing wins, though.
Yeah, and Geisha is the best probably opponent he's fought since then. Geisha was a former Olympian for USA, good boxer, good technical skills. Doesn't have the power, but it should be a good matchup. If Lubin fights to his best abilities, I feel like he should be getting Geisha out of there. But Geisha's a hard guy to break down, to figure out. So it might take him some time. But that's a good fight. I think if he wins that fight, he's probably looking at a Tony Harrison fight. Because Tony Harrison doesn't have any fights lined up right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a fight that Al Heyman will look at to making for 2020. Co-main event, your boy Emmanuel Rodriguez, Puerto Rico. He's fighting Rasheed Warren.
Yep.
And this is a fight that I feel he should win. But because of how badly he got beat his last fight, sometimes when you lose the way he lost his last fight, you're never the same.
No.
So what do you think? What do you think about Emmanuel Rodriguez?
I still believe that you always come back, and just like they say, just like the greatest said, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you come back. So mentally, it's probably going to be a big thing for Rodriguez. But knowing where he's from, the island he's from Puerto Rico, and how good he was going into that fight, I think this would be a rebound fight for him. It's going to be mentally, it's going to be the biggest thing for him. Can he get over that devastating loss to Naoya?
The thing is, he's fighting Rasheed Warren too, and I asked you earlier if you knew about Rasheed Warren, and you watched the fight, but you don't remember him.
Right.
But he's not known as a big puncher. He was a great amateur, fantastic amateur. I think he won. He didn't win any medals, but he was a really good amateur. I remember he won a lot of fights. Warren is not known for his power. Rasheed Warren is probably one of the lightest punching fighters in the division. So if you're looking at Rodriguez, this is probably the perfect opponent for him, I think. And if he's not so mentally gone, he should beat the Rasheed Warren of the world. But Warren's a good technical fighter, but I just don't see him being able to hurt Rodriguez unless Inoue just beat the hell out of him so badly that anything will hurt him at this point. So that's a good fight at 118. The winner of that's probably looking at getting back into the mix there and just challenging for world titles against what's a pretty stacked division. Pretty good division.
Before he beat him Rodriguez. He was
very highly rated. He's probably so, I would say Rodriguez is probably of the current active Puerto Rican fighters from the island. I'm not talking about guys who are from the island.
Yeah.
He's probably the most talented Puerto Rican fighter because he was 19-0 before he fought Inoue.
Right.
And then he was, I believe, like 171-11 as an amateur and represented Puerto Rico in the Olympics. So he was a good fighter.
So he's got a lot of credibility behind him. Like I said, he's just got a bump on the road. Can he get over that bump and get over the hill?
Yeah. I think if he fights his potential, I got him winning that fight. Okay. And the fight I know you want to talk about because the other fights are whatever, but me and you, I'm very good friends with Adrian Granados.
Right, I'm a big fan of his
we've
too.
covered him a lot here on True School Sports. He's had probably one of the most interesting careers in all of boxing. I mean, just take a look at it. 20 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, but the record doesn't quite tell the whole story because this is a guy that basically was thrown to the wolves in his career. His 14th fight, he's fighting world champions in his 14th fight. Most guys are fighting bums the 14th fight.
Right. And also, he said he's fought more credible opponents than Easter, right?
Easter's fought some good. Well, no, the thing is, Easter's fought some good fighters, but the thing is, Easter hasn't really had a convincing win in years against a credible opponent. Okay. Even the fights that were quote unquote wins, most people thought he lost, like Comey. But we're looking at Granados' record. I mean, if you look at what he was doing earlier in his career, he fought Frankie Gomez in his 10th fight. You remember Frankie Gomez?
Wow.
Remember Frankie Gomez?
You tell me about him, yeah.
He fought Kermit Cintron his 14th fight. And he beat him too. He got robbed horribly in that fight. He fought Felix Diaz's 16th or 17th fight. He fought Felix Diaz. 18th fight he fought Brad Solomon. Then he fought Broner. He fought Sean Porter. He fought Fortuna. Fought Danny Garcia. He's fought a lot of names.
Top names.
And unfortunately for him, he hasn't been able to get the benefit of the doubt in a lot of those fights. Amir Mom, obviously, that's the one that kind of propelled him to where he's at now. But I really believe, because I was talking to Adrian years ago about, he was talking to me actually about potential fights, and this was a name that came up. He told me, he gave me a couple names, and Robert Easter's name came up.
Right.
And I said, you know what? That's the fight you should take. I told him about a year and a half ago when he told me about this. That's the fight you should take. Because Robert Easter, if you look at the way he fights, he's very, he's got these long arms.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to fight on the inside. And I just feel with Adrian's style, particularly at 140, where he is a better fighter, he can get in there and just chop that body and just use that work rate.
Break him down.
What do you think?
I agree with you. I think that it was a devastating loss of welterweight when he moved up and fought Danny Garcia. And if your comfort zone is not there, and you've noticed that every time you've gone up, you've done your best that you could, but you're not. If the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. Put that shoe on, go back to 140 where you feel comfortable at, and do all your competition there and show people what you're made of there. And at the end of the day, if he continues to fight there and actually beats Robert Easter, it'll be a big step up for him mentally, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back from that long layoff after the loss to Garcia.
And the worst performance of his career against Danny Garcia.
So,
Danny Garcia folded him up.
So I could see that being a motivation for him, and coming back to the States and fighting will be big for him, and he'll rebound from that. But I totally agree with my son. If he stays in at the 140, keeps his shoes in the same place and tied in the right way, and keeps his mind mentally, he can be a dominant fighter in his own weight class.
Yeah. And there's a lot of interesting fights out there for him at 140, but he's got to get past this one first.
Right.
I wanted to take a look at Robert Easter's resume because I know you're not too familiar with his resume.
Right.
So back in 2016, he burst onto the scene when he beat Arrhenius Mendes. Arrhenius Mendes was a good fighter. I believe he might have been a world champion. Okay. Then there was the Richard Comey fight I was telling you about. He fought Richard Comey.
You can't tell me he beat Comey.
He got a split decision against Comey. I thought it was a massive gift. I thought Comey beat him.
Yeah, Comey is a very aggressive fighter, strong.
Yeah, you had a hard time believing that he actually got that decision.
Yeah, when you told me that, he shocked me. I'm still not. I like, you just never know.
There was that fight. Then his next big fight was against Denis Shafikov. And against Shafikov was a shorter fighter. Okay. I mean, like, for the weight class, significantly shorter fighter, but he's very aggressive, Russian, Eastern European fighter. I believe he had like a 9-inch or 10-inch, I'm talking like crazy reach advantage.
Right.
And Shafikov was just getting past him long arms, and he was just dogging him to the body. I thought he got a gift in that fight. A lot of people thought he got a gift in that fight.
So you say you got a lot of freebies.
Then there was a Fortuna fight, which, that was a different... I mean, that one could be classified as a gift decision, but it was such an ugly fight. Fortuna punched him on the back of the head, and neither fighter really set themselves.
Well, Fortuna is known for being crazy like that. Look what he did to Granados, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we know about him already, if I say that.
And then he fought Mikey Garcia and got completely outclassed in that fight. Just pieced up and just... thrown out there like a piece of trash, pretty much, in that fight. And then earlier this year, he put on probably one of the most boringest fights in the last decade when he fought Rances Bartholomew. So that's pretty much a good rundown of his resume. His best win was a couple years ago when he beat Arrhenius Mendes, showed himself to be a long, rangy boxer, puncher with good hand speed.
I think for both fighters, we already know about Granados. We already know about, we just got finished for Easter. For them, I think it's a step up for both of them. And and I think a step out in a mental state game of boxing. I think especially more for, I think Granados. I think Granados has fought, in my opinion, been tested more than Easter. That's my own
Easter's
opinion.
fought some fighters though.
Yeah.
He's fought some fighters
Yeah, so-
too. But it's not like he's fought bums either. It's
Right. It's the way.
honestly, Adrian has fought more competition than almost anybody you're gonna put him against because he was thrown to the wolves. He was a guy that wasn't an Olympian, didn't have a million amateur wins. He had to.
It's like a free agent walking into the boxing ring. He just a walk on that didn't get the amateur fights, that didn't get the actual big experience
so
to actually have
his record doesn't tell the whole story, but I think for this fight, it's as simple as this for Adrian Granados. If he stays on the outside and it becomes a battle of hand speed, he will lose this fight, no doubt about it.
Right.
Robert Easter is you know how he's friends with Adrian Broner? He's basically just another taller Adrian Broner. He fights just like him. He sucks on the inside.
Right.
Like he's not a very good inside fighter. When you give him range and space to throw his combinations, he's money. He's money. But if you get on the inside, even the slightest bit,
well, I think they're both
he's uncomfortable.
coming in. They're both more or less the same height, aren't they? But I think they're both kind of height-wise.
Easter's tall. Easter's like 6 feet tall.
How tall is Granados?
5'9". Adrian's
it's a
like 5'9".
big difference. I thought they were good.
Easter's like at
they're
least.
just both lanky. That's what I was looking at.
No, Robert's 5'11".
Okay, so
yeah, he was big. I mean, he's a tall guy. I'm not saying big. He's tall, but you can push him around. The Shafikov fight showed us you can push Easter around. The Comey fight shows you can push Easter around.
If you're looking at both fighters, who do you think? Which one has what is their strong points and what is their weak points?
Easter is combination punching, hand speed. Those are definitely
strong.
Some strong points of his. Weak points are inside fighting, mid-range fighting.
Wow.
Things like that, or even in going in later rounds. I feel like that's where Adrian will beat him in the later rounds.
Okay.
Granados' strengths are work rate. His right hand.
Yeah.
His weakness is when he gets into exchanges, leaving his chin in the air. Adrian does that sometimes.
Well, you think he learned from this fight?
No. That's just how he is. I love Adrian, but he'll tell you himself. I'm not saying anything.
Right.
When he throws more than 2 punches and gets to exchanges, he has a habit to sometimes leave his chin exposed.
Wow.
That's his weakness. Okay, that's his weakness. Probably the fact that doesn't have the best technical skills. Those are weaknesses. But I'm gonna quote the great Teddy Atlas. I was watching one of Adrian's fights the other day, and Teddy Atlas was saying that Adrian Granados does a lot of things wrong technically, but the one thing he does great is behave like a fighter.
Wow, you said it all right there. BT against
so he can't. So we're not gonna confuse Adrian Granados with Pernell Whitaker.
No.
Or Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. Right. But when the going gets tough, he knows how to behave like a fighter, and sometimes that's all you need as a fighter. And I feel like this will be one of those fights where that character trait gets in the W.
What do you think? There's gonna be a UD, a knockout, or what do you think?
Well, personally, I'm hoping it doesn't go to the cards, because if it goes to the cards,
oh no,
I already know what's gonna happen.
He's gonna lose again.
He's gonna lose. Robert Easter will get his third, maybe fourth gift decision, because Robert Easter is the king of getting gift decisions. He gets it all the time.
So you expect Granados to be more of an aggressive inside?
I think he knows, because you gotta understand his last fight, for not even his last fight, his last since the Broner fight, because the Broner fight, that was a fight he should have got the decision in.
Right.
He got screwed
right.
in that fight. Then he took 2 fights, which Adrian, if you listen to this video, 2 fights I thought he shouldn't have taken. To be honest with you, he took the Sean Porter fight, which was good for him from an exposure standpoint. And listen, if he had won that fight, I'd be singing a different tune, because if he'd won that fight, he would have been the mandatory for Keith Thurman.
Wow.
If he won that fight, so you gotta take your chances in life.
Yeah.
I can't fault him for that. But the second fight against Danny Garcia, that's the fight where I was excited about it because it was a good matchup, but
the reality,
I knew that if Adrian Granados did not fight to his best, he could get thoroughly outclassed that night. And
you kind of said when we were watching the fight that his mind was not in it, like you.
I didn't think his mind was in it. And then the thing is too, like this is not to make excuses because I don't believe that any fighter is really 100% healthy. But I know from talking to him that he was not. He was sick. He was sick before they announced the fight.
You were saying that. You were telling that way before the fight. You were telling me that's not. Ronald's going into the fight because it's an opportunity, but he's not ready to go into that fight because you were saying he was sick and all that. You kind of sense something about it.
He'll tell you himself. I was talking with him yesterday, and he told me like that was the worst performance of my career. I can't even watch the film. That wasn't even me in the ring that night.
Wow.
He'll tell you that himself. So
for him to do
he
that
knows,
big.
and a lot of people writing him off. You understand? A lot of people writing him off. He's being he's being brought on to lose this fight.
But he's always been like the black sheep of when he's going into a lot of the fights, right? He wasn't favored to win the race against Khan.
Because think about how effed up it is, right? Adrian Granados, when he beat Amir Imam was
big at the time.
Big. Amir Imam was supposed to be the next world champion.
Right.
Tommy Hitman Hearns, Felix Trinidad. He was getting compared to Tommy Hitman Hearns and Felix Trinidad.
Wow.
He was that guy. He was supposed to be the next world champion at 140 that was going to clear out the division. Adrian Granados fights him, beats the brakes off of him, okay, stops him in, I think it was like 7 or 8 rounds.
Yeah.
And then he should have became the mandatory for the WBC title.
Right.
He never got his title shot.
That's crazy.
So he never got his title shot, got frozen out for a year and a half. Then he had to take fights instead of fighting 140, which is his natural weight class, he had to take fights at 147.
Right.
Then he had to fight Porter, Danny Garcia. He got beat up by them.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah, those were tough fights for him.
Yeah.
Even if he would have won those fights, he would have gotten beaten up because those are not easy guys to fight.
But at the other side of the coin, it helped him with his
then but then now he was even telling me this yesterday. He was like, they beat up Adrian at 147, and now they want to fight him at 140. They didn't want to fight him when he beat Amir Imam.
Yeah.
You know, Pravanikov didn't want to fight him.
Wow.
When Adrian beat. Because you know that, right? The Pravanikov fight was on the table for Granados. Do you remember when John Molina fought Ruslan Pravanikov?
Yeah, I remember yeah.
That was supposed to be Granados' fight. Granados was on the table for that fight. Pravanikov didn't want to fight Adrian Granados.
Well, that's crazy.
He didn't want to fight him.
Okay.
So he's had listen, his career is interesting because he's somehow, even with all the stuff that's going on, he's found a way to make a name for himself.
Yeah.
And gain his respect.
Right.
But there has been a lot of bad luck, and I know sometimes people say, "Well, Adrian Granados complains too much." Well, think about it. If you had to fight world champion in your 14th fight, and your 17th fight, and all these fights, you know,
he didn't get no pat. He didn't get like pat. Got some other boxers get patted their records.
But because of that, I have a lot of time for him, and I respect him because I know.
Well, you gotta respect the fact that even with that said, he hasn't won all these fights that we expected him to win, or whatever. That experience, even getting his ass kicked against Garcia, losing to Sean Porter, all that experience builds up, makes him a better fighter.
Yeah.
So I look for that experience that he gained from that to make him go over the hump where he's gonna fight even with Easter.
Yeah, like of his 7 losses, or of his 9 decisions that aren't losses, because he has 7 losses and 2 draws. I feel like 6 of them were BS. 3 of them were legitimate. The 3 of them being legitimate would be Danny Garcia stopping him, Sean Porter, and I think the Felix Diaz fight.
Right.
That's it. Outside of those 3 fighters that beat him, everybody else got gifts. So
Christmas gifts.
I'm gonna leave it at that. But that's pretty much the card. So yeah, October 26th, PBC, Reading, Pennsylvania. Eric Slubin, Terrell Geisha. Rashi Warren versus Emmanuel Rodriguez, and Adrian Granados versus Robert Easter Jr. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. What's the most interesting fight on that card? Give me your picks. Who you think's gonna win? And just anything in regards to any one of those 6 fights. You want to give me your prediction? I know you don't really know much about Lubin or Warren.
But Lubin, he's rebounded from a devastating knockout that Charlo gave him. So
hasn't really fought anybody, though.
I mean, yeah, he hasn't fought nobody, but he's come out and he's actually come out. Whether you want to look at it mentally, those last 3 fights he's had has given him that mental edge to feeling like he can go back and contend with the big dogs. So I expect Lubin to win that fight. I definitely want Rodriguez to come out and rebound based on experience, amateur. That should make him more hungry to come back and do better. And then for Granados, you already know how I feel about that. I think it's pretty evenly matched, but I'm going to give more the edge to Granados based on his losses and the experience he's gained from them losses, and hopefully that mental game, he'll go over the hump for that.
Okay, I'm going to go with I got Lubin via stoppage. I got Rodriguez via decision.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go Granados with the late round TKO. Late rounds TKO. He's gonna get inside the arms of Robert Easter Jr. He's gonna break that body down, and later rounds he gets that win. He gets back in the mix of 140, and we're talking about Adrian Granados in the win column again. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe, like I say in every single one of these videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time. Take care, guys.